Hello, good evening, and good evening, everybody. Good evening, hello, good evening, and eventually, good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. And good evening, eventually. Good evening, hello, and good evening, everybody. Hello. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Dave's Tackle Box. And welcome to Dave's Tackle Box. 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 And welcome to Dave's Tackle Box. Hello. Welcome to Dave's Tackle Box. 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 On it. What's the date? Is it that Sunday, the 1st of April? So it's 9 o'clock on Sunday, the 9th of September, Sunday the 10th of June, Sunday the 29th of April, Sunday the 22nd of July, on Sunday the 2nd of September, on Sunday the 20th of May, or as it shall be known, the Sunday after the Saturday before, Sunday the 8th of July. 20-something of April, 22nd of April 2012, and it's the 15th of July, 1st of July 2012, somewhere around there. What's the difference? Sunday, the 16th of September. I hope everybody's had a great weekend. I'm Dave. It's pretty obvious, really. Oh, now we've got sound. God blimey. Guys, I'm pouring myself a beer, okay? I'm late. I apologise. I make no apology for the fact that I'm going to take the few seconds and just waffle while I pour this beer. Because I need this beer. Otherwise, we're just not going to make it through to the end. Cheers, folks. We'll see how that goes. Just having another swig of beer. Hi, I'm Dave. And in this short video, I'm going to attempt to explain the principles of variable voltage and variable wattage devices. If you are fairly new to the world of electronic cigarettes or vaping, and you have been looking on internet forums and what have you, you probably can't fail to have noticed reference to variable voltage and variable wattage. Hopefully this video will explain the principles behind them and explain to you how they can actually give you a more consistent vaping experience. So probably the best place to start is to go back to basics. So what I've got here is a look-alike electronic cigarette. It happens to be made by a company called e-lights. They don't make this model anymore, I don't believe. It's not a particularly brilliant electronic cigarette, but it does actually show quite clearly the basic components of an electronic cigarette, which are a supply of e-liquid, which in this case is in this mouthpiece cartridge, the atomiser, which in this case is a 306 style atomiser. What an atomiser is basically a metal tube that houses a wire coil. When you provide power from your battery to that coil, the coil heats up and vaporizes the e-liquid, and that's what gives you the vapor when you take a draw on the thing. What I've come to learn in my almost 2 years of using electronic cigarettes is that the amount of vapor that's produced depends entirely on the power from the coil in the atomizer. Now, there's a thing called Ohm's law, and there are various different ways of expressing Ohm's law. Ohm's law covers things like current, resistance, voltage and power, and the other things can be worked into it. All we really need to worry about is the power that we're getting from our electronic cigarette. And there are two things we can do to control the power. We can alter voltage, or we can alter resistance in the atomizer coil. So until variable voltage and variable wattage devices appeared, getting a consistent and a consistently pleasant vaping experience involved a bit of planning and buying the right stuff. Most electronic cigarette batteries deliver around about 3.7 volts. Now, Ohm's law says, and don't worry about this too much for the moment, but Ohm's law tells us that the power that you get from your electronic cigarette is the square of the voltage that you're providing to your coil divided by the resistance of the coil. Yeah, quite. Don't worry about that. It really doesn't matter. I'm using a website here called ohmslawcalculator.com. I'll put the URL on the screen. Don't worry about the fancy formulas and all the rest of it. All you need to know really is that if you increase the number of volts coming from the battery or decrease the resistance in your atomizer, the more power you're going to get. It really is that simple. If you really want to be precise about it, use that website, ohmslawcalculator.com, or there's plenty of others on the internet. You've only got to Google them and tell you exactly what, and you'll be able to see exactly what's going on. But as a general principle, if you increase your voltage and or decrease the resistance of your atomizer, you're going to get more power. More power means more vapor, more throat hit, perhaps too much. So now I know just from experience that I like somewhere between 8.5 and 9 watts of power on my atomizer coil. So for the vast majority of the time that I've been vaping, I would achieve this by using 3.7 volt electronic cigarette mods, usually with big 18650 batteries, maybe like this one. And then I would buy something in the region of 1.7 ohm atomizers. Most of the better vaping supply websites will tell you the resistance of the atomizer or cartomizer that you're buying these days. So that would mean, and I'm just going to feed some numbers now into that Ohm's law calculator that I was talking about. If I've got a 3.7 volt battery and I'm using a 1.7 ohm atomizer, a 1.7 ohms of resistance atomizer, then basically I'm getting just over 8 watts of power. So that's pretty much right. That's what I've been doing. On occasion, I would use a 3.7 volt battery with a 1.5 ohm atomizer. Put 1.5 in there. That gives me 9 watts of power. So that was kind of what a lot of people call their sweet spot for me. That, I'm not too picky, but somewhere in between 8 and 9 watts gives me a nice vape. Now there are two downsides to doing this, to using the battery, a fixed voltage battery, and buying your atomizers or cartomizers to suit to achieve the wattage that you want. There are two downsides to it. The first one is that atomizers vary. The quality control is not great. In one box of atomizers from the same supplier, you can get quite a variation in the resistance of them, which means that one will not perform like the last one, and the next one might be different again. The quality control or the tolerances that they work to in the factories that make them are not that hot. So you're not going to get a totally consistent experience that way. The other thing that makes it difficult is that as an atomizer or a battery are used, as the battery, you take a 3.7 volt battery. In actual fact, if it's like just an 18650 like this, when you bring it off your charger, it's probably going to be more like 4.2 volts, which means, and then it will degrade down slowly until either the circuitry in the battery or in your mod says, okay, that's gone low enough, it needs to recharge now. So in actual fact, you don't get a consistent voltage, you get a drop off as you use it, which means the experience is going to change, because less voltage means less watts. The other thing that can happen, so this is all part of point number 2 really, is that with age, atomizer coils will degrade and the resistance will taper off a bit, meaning that the performance of the atomizer seems to diminish, and that again we call it wimping off, the atomizer wimping off. In the past, the only solutions to these really were to recharge the battery, or put a fresh battery in, or and if the atomizer's starting to go, you bung that and put a new one on, which meant that atomizers don't last as long. So Ohm's law tells us that there's a relationship between power, which is what matters, that's what we want. We want that consistent power delivery every time we press the button. There's a relationship there with the voltage and the resistance. Now, if you can control, you can't really control the resistance because the atomizers degrade. You know, it is what it is. Okay, if you've got rebuildable coils, then you can make a new one. If your atomizer's starting to taper off, the only way you can control the watts that you're producing is to change the voltage, and this is where variable voltage devices come in very useful. So what I'm going to do here is I've got a meter here, and I've also got a Carto tank, okay, which I've shown on VTTV a couple of times. In fact, that's probably not the last time in this show even that you're going to see this. But inside here is a cartomizer. Now, this cartomizer was bought for a certain resistance, and that resistance is 3 ohms. But as I say, the quality control is not that great. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure the resistance of this cartomizer. I've got quite a fancy meter here, but you can pick up a meter for not very much at all. And if I've got enough hands, what I'm going to do is just meter the resistance on this and hold that up, and maybe you'll be able to see it and maybe you won't. And I think you can see there that the resistance of this cartomizer is 3 ohms. So I've got a 3 ohm resistance cartomizer, and as I've already said, I like around about 8.5 watts of power. That's what gives me my optimum vape, my sweet spot, whatever you want to call it. So using the Ohm's law calculator here, right, I know that I've got a 3 ohm cartomizer. I know that I want 8.5 watts. I can key it all in and click the calculate button, and it tells me that I need 5 volts to achieve that. This is where variable voltage comes in. So I've attached this tank to the Pravari here. This is a Pravari version 1 that I picked up off the classifieds a few weeks ago, and I've been using it quite a lot. And what this device does is it lets me set the voltage that I apply to this cartomizer. It also has a resistance meter built into it, so I can test the resistance. So what I'll do, and I just want to make sure I get this on the camera, but if we look at the atomizer ohms, you can see that it's also reading 3. I hope you can see that on the camera there. So that just basically confirms what I read with this meter. If you haven't got a Pravari, that's a bit trickier to do. That's why I showed you with the meter. But what I can do also with the Pravari is set the voltage to 5 volts as the ohms calculator suggested I should. Let's just do that again, make sure you got it. Hopefully you can see that. I have set this to 5 volts. I've got 5 volts from the battery going into a 3 ohm atomiser. That's going to give me my 8.5 watts of power. A really nice vape for me. You might like 9 watts, 10 watts. I know people who like 12 watts, which would mean that I'd probably need surgery on the back of my throat after that. Some people like 6, 7 watts, which wouldn't give me any impact. I wouldn't realise I was vaping. You know, everybody will have their own sweet spot. But this demonstrates that by varying the voltage that I deliver to that cartomiser, I can find my sweet spot. But the best thing is, as the battery drops off from the 4.2 volts as it comes off the charger down to whatever the lower level is, and before it stops working, I'm going to get a consistent 5 volts delivered, and that's a huge benefit. It means this is going to work the same while the atomiser remains in good condition, or cartomiser in this case. Once the cartomiser drops off, I can test the resistance using the Pravari or my meter, and adjust my voltage to compensate. So you can't do anything about degrading atomizers. They die eventually. That's what happens, you know. But what you can do with this device, with any variable voltage device, is keep increasing the voltage to compensate. And I remember when the Pravari first came out, people were digging out atomizers that they should have thrown away because they were wimping off, and giving them a new lease of life by upping the voltage. So that's good. So that's variable voltage. Now, I also said I was going to cover the concept of variable wattage. Now, there is only really one company making variable wattage devices at the moment, and that's Evolve. And they are making 2 devices. One is a big, full singing, all dancing electronic cigarette that looks like a remote control, blooming huge thing, battery that lasts days and everything, called the Darwin, which is really quite expensive. It's out of my price range, or I'd have bought one some time ago. But recently they brought out this thing, which is called the Kick. Now, this is actually a prototype version of the Kick. It looks slightly different to the one that that went into production, and is available briefly in most cases until they sell out on a few UK websites. You can get them, I believe, from cloud9vaping.co.uk, from safercigs.co.uk, and I think, and I should research this, I think you can also get them from Mojo Republic. Now, what the Kick does is it comes at the same problem from a slightly different angle. Now, what you've got here is a unit that will drop into any sort of cylindrical mod, any metal cased cylindrical mod. Otherwise you're going to need to provide a sort of ground or negative connection for it, but that's a whole different subject. I'm going to use a metal tubular silver mod, my trusty silver bullet. Now, the principle with this thing is that you drop it into the mod. There's a little adjustment screw on the top, and on this one, instead of setting your voltage like you do on the Pravari, you set your wattage. It will then regulate the battery output in conjunction with the resistance of your atomizer. You don't need to know the resistance of your atomizer. You don't need to know the voltage of your battery. You just tell it how many watts you want. Now, on this particular version, there is no scale because this is a prototype, but on the production ones there are numbers. I think they go from 6 to 10, and you set the number of watts you want and you drop that into your mod, and it sorts it all out for you. So as the battery drops off, as your atomizer degrades, it will sort it out and make sure you get the right watts, which is really quite incredible. I'll very quickly demonstrate how that works here. I'll use the same tank. I'm going to drop in a battery, put the kick on top. Now, because this one, you turn this little screw. This is not a demonstration of the kick, it's a demonstration of the principle. I've set the wattage previously. It's what I like it. I don't need to change that again now, because it doesn't matter what cartomiser or atomiser I use, what battery I use, this will give me the vape that I want. Now, this being a prototype, it can be a little bit picky with this little spring. The production ones, they've re-engineered that. So I just need to make sure that it goes together right. Once it's in, you can't tell whether it's a prototype or a production one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap this tank from the Pravari, which you saw in use. I'm going to drop the tank, obviously. And then I'm going to attach it to this silver bullet. Just check it's firing. You can hear that's firing. Now this should give me exactly the same experience I got on the Pravari, but with the added benefit that I didn't really need to faff about, because once I've set this to the watts that I want, I can drop it into any mod, any cartomiser, any atomiser, and it should give me the same performance. So that's going to be producing pretty much identical experience, and same amount of vapour, same amount of throat hit, flavour, and all the other things that are affected by watts as the Pravari did, but with a bit less hassle. And just to prove it wasn't a fluke, I'll drop it back onto the Pravari. Same experience. Good, isn't it? So hopefully that's given you a bit of a basic understanding of the concepts and the differences between variable voltage and variable wattage. I hope so. Otherwise that was a waste of time. Finding your sweet spot is the only hard bit, knowing what you want, and depending on whether you go for the variable voltage or variable wattage approach. The Darwin obviously has an interface a bit like the Pravari does, so you can dial in and on a little display what your wattage is. So they're very comparable in terms of user friendliness. Those are the options available. There are lots of variable voltage mods being made and sold on forums and around the place. There are other sort of fairly high production mods around as well. The Buzz Pro springs to mind. Hopefully you've got some idea of what you're looking at now. Thanks for watching.
Cloud9 Vaping, sponsored
and good evening. Taking a while to get things lined up and ready to go. But I'm here now, so welcome to Dave's Tackle Box.
So there we go, I'm back in the room and not long to go now. So yeah, I was talking to my son and he's watched me make things before.
At Vape TV tell us tonight being Wednesday night, it is time for the one and only chat show programme called PT Talk. Yes, it is the Haze Hour. Again, Keith was just saying if it wasn't for the titles, he wouldn't come and do the show. He loves them so much, doesn't he? Alright.
Cloud9 Vaping, sponsors of Dave's Tackle Box.
Anyway, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring Dugie in, and so I will say, how you doing, Dugie?
Not too bad, Dave.
It's Dugie. Good evening, Dugie.
Good evening, Dave.
You're on the telly again. So, how are you?
I'm good, mate, you?
And here's Dougie. Not that side, he's that side.
Good evening.
Seamless. How you doing, Doug? You alright?
Not too
How's your
bad,
weekend
Dave.
been, mate?
Not too bad.
Can you hear that
again
dog
today.
barking? Did you hear a dog barking in the background then?
I didn't.
I've had to turn down the boost on this mic because it just barks incessantly. And I will shoot it. But not during the show, because that would be evidence. And good evening, Dougie. How are you?
Not too bad, Dave. Good evening to yourself and good evening everybody in chat and watching on Catch Up.
Say hello, everyone. Right, this time, everybody's ready for you, Dougie. Apologies for that. I clicked the wrong button.
Good evening,
I
everyone.
do that from time to time. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, Dave. Not
Yeah.
too bad yourself.
Yeah, not bad at all. Seamless. Dougie, hello, mate.
How do?
How's things?
Good, mate. Good. You?
Yeah, all
Well.
right. What's the yeah, well as can be expected, I think is the medical expression. Yeah, I'm good evening, Dougie.
Good evening, Dave. Good evening, everyone.
I was just about to say hello to the viewers, but you beat me to it. Good evening, Dougie. Let's get
Good
rid
evening,
of that.
Dave.
I'll just get rid of that little echo. Seamless. And look who I've got with me. Hey, Dougie, how's things, mate?
All good, Dave. All good yourself.
Yeah, not bad at all. You can see there, over my right shoulder, I've got it right for a change. It's Doug. How you doing, Dougie?
I'm good, Dave. Good evening, everybody.
That was absolutely no technical hitches whatsoever, were there, lads? That just like went just as we rehearsed it.
Good evening, everybody. Hope you've all had a cracking weekend. I've not had too much time to myself this weekend. You know, it's been a little bit busy, but it's all good. It's all good. So, tonight, I'm going to do a little bit of a look at the Precision IO6 drip tip from Siam Mods and the IO6 1.5 ohm atomiser. Can't really see much as it is at the moment because it's all put together, but I recorded some video earlier on, a little bit closer up, you know, so we can get a little bit better detail. So let's go and have a quick look at that one now. Okay, so here we have the Siam Mods Precision drip tip and an IO6 atomiser. Now there's not really a lot we can say about the atomiser at the moment, so I'll just put that off to one side. Okay, the drip tip. If somebody asks me, you know, what's good about Siam Mods kit, the first thing I will say is the quality of what they produce, and this is no exception. Nice bit of weight to it, you know when you've got a hold of that, and it's big. You know, I can't remember the height dimensions, but just for instance, look at that dripping hole, 5mm in diameter. You're not missing that. If you miss that, let me know, and I will personally drive you to Specsavers, because that is one hell of a hole. Going easy there in chat, hopefully. Anyway, you know, it's a monster of a drip tip. But for the size of it, it just looks perfect, and you'll see it on the setup that I'll put it on in a minute. Now, on the inside, I'm going to try and see if you can pick this up on light. Hopefully we'll get something. Just keep moving it up, keep moving it. There. You can just see two lines going around on the inside. They're actually your O-rings. There's one there, it's about 2 mil in. That's your first O-ring. There's another one about another 4 mils up, and that's your second O-ring. And they'll fit snugly around the atomiser and keep any juice in, you know, so it's not leaking out all over. And like I say, that's what will create the nice fit on the atomiser. The finish of this drip tip, smooth, absolutely stunning. If I rub my nail, I'll just put it to the microphone, you can just slightly hear a little rubbing, you know, and that shows how smooth it is. And on the inside, you're not going to be able to see, which is a shame. The finish on the inside is just as smooth on the outside. You know, to me, that's attention to detail. I know you're not going to see it, and it doesn't necessarily matter, but that's just attention to detail for me. Okay, so I'm going to add this onto an Ego battery with a cut down comb, and there's the atomiser. You know, nice, simple setup. I know people say, you know, you shouldn't use these 1.5 ohm atomizers on these batteries, but it works a treat for me, and it has done for months. So I'm going to do it. So to set it on, I mean, it takes a bit of a shove. You get past the first O-ring, and again a bit of pressure, and it clicks into place. And to me, for sitting on the couch with your favourite bottle of juice, that setup does it for me. Okay, so let's go and give it a vape, and then we can talk a little bit about the atomiser. Okay, so that was a bit of a closer look at the, well, mainly the drip tip. There's not really much you can say about an atomiser close up, you know, it's a bridged version. All our atomizers look the same. The proof is in the pudding of obviously when you're using them, not really what they look like. So let's give it a quick vape. I've put 3 drops of my favourite e-liquid in, and let's give it a go and see what I think. The vapour this thing kicks out isn't a bad amount of vapour. I've used other atomizers other than the Icon vapes, and you know, they also kick out a good amount of vapour. And this is, you know, it's on par with them. Now I don't know if you can hear that, but when I'm using it, there's a whistle. I know with dripping you get a gurgle, and I'm getting that, but I'm getting a whistle. Now, I don't believe it's down to the cone, but it's annoying. You know, it's. I'll do it again, see if you can pick it up. Just a whistle. Where's it coming from? I'll take off the drip tip. Take off the cone, which I don't really want to do, and you'll understand why in a little bit. Put the drip tip back on, a couple more drops of juice. Now I only drip 2 drops on this atomiser, and again, that'll come clear in a bit. Look at that now, open threads, spoils the look. Still getting the whistle. Like I said, I don't know if you can pick that up, so I'm going to put the cone back on. So the vapour side, you know, it kicks out a nice amount of vapour. You know, I cannot grumble at that. And the flavour is good flavour that it's producing. You know, it's a strong juice anyway that I'm using, which is the HS Menthol Sensation. But I usually use it in bulk cartomizers, so you know I do know the taste, and this has amplified the taste a lot. The juice tastes different. It's more, you know, I'm getting a lot more cooling sensation on my throat. I'm getting a lot more peppermint flavour out of the juice than I would do using it on a Bosch cartomizer. So, as we know with dripping, you know, the flavour is amplified, and this does a good job. This atomizer does a good job of really making you notice more flavours from the juice. But I do have one major gripe, apart from the whistle that I seem to be getting with this setup. And I don't know where the air is coming from. I don't know if it's coming from the O-rings that are connecting around the atomizer or the atomizer itself, but I don't seem to get that whistle with other atomizers I've used. So, apart from a little bit of the whistle, so far, you know, it's, you know, the flavour's nice, and the vapour is a nice amount of vapour, and I'm getting a nice strong throat hit from the atomizer as well. But my one major gripe is leaks, and to really show you what I mean, I'll have to take you back to another close-up shot. Okay, so I was mentioning in the video there, my main problem with this, or my main gripe with this, is leaks, and I'll show you exactly how I mean. On the inside of here you'll see, you know, there's juice already in there, and this is why I didn't want to take off the cone before in the video. Around these threads you can see there's juice already forming around there. Yep, and what did we use that? How long have we been using that in the video? You know, 2-3 minutes. You can imagine what it's like after 10-20 minutes. The juice just goes through. It's, you know, very, very leaky compared to other atomizers I've used. So that's my main issue with this atomizer, and that's the leaking. Okay, so that's my thoughts on the Precision IO6 drip tip from Siam Mods. Brilliant quality build again. It just works, it does what it's meant to do. And the I Can Vape IO6 atomizer, apart from the issue with the leaking, you know, it's a good atomizer. It gives you good flavour, a good amplified throat hit, compared to using it in cartomizers, the same juice, and good amounts of vapour. You know, if it didn't leak as much, I would be over the moon. You know, so I am a little bit put off with that. I just hope that it is a batch issue, and the next one I get doesn't have that. So, okay, well, that's my thoughts. So, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you back in the studio.
e-cig. Because you want one.
iVaper and iVaper Elixir, based in Yorkshire, for your e-cig needs. That's iVaper.co.uk and iVaper-elixir.co.uk. iVaper and iVaper-elixir.co.uk, proud sponsors of vaportrails.tv.
If you can't watch our shows live, try some of these. Go to YouTube at youtube.com/user/vaportrailstv and you can subscribe there. All of our shows are uploaded as soon as possible after they've gone out live. Enjoy watching it on YouTube, lots of people do. Alternatively, go to Google and type in podcast vaportrails.tv and iTunes. Click on the link and that will take you to a page that shows you the Vape Trails TV podcast. View it in iTunes, and when you get to iTunes, don't forget to click on subscribe free, and each of the shows will be downloaded to your hard drive as soon as they come out. Or you can use video on demand. Go to www.vaportrails.tv, click on vPlayer, pick the show you want to watch, in this case it's the Haze Hour, and then you can pick the episode that you want to watch from every one that we've ever done. They're all there. Under normal circumstances, you'll watch it at 360p, which means everybody can see it. It'll go full screen. You can do whatever you want with it. So there you go, 3 ways that you can watch vaportrails.tv. Subscribe and enjoy. Thanks.
Cloud9 Vaping, sponsors of Dave's Tackle Box.
Oh, you bastard.
Low battery. It's about 2 o'clock here in Tamworth at the Castle Hotel, and there's about 70 odd people here, and it's really good. And I've just actually been informed that the gas mask, the Decadent Vapors gas mask, is about to make an appearance, and I've got to take the camera over there. So let's go and see what's occurring.
So Mr.
Okay, so what's about to happen to you?
Well, because I'm a bit of a dickhead, I'm going to have another go with the gas mask. And last time, a year ago, it was Parma Violet, I believe. And this time it's menthol. My favourite. This is going to sting, isn't it?
Close your eyes, it hurts.
Yeah, I remember.
To experience the best effect, leave your eyes open.
With menthol, yeah.
Oh my god. It's alarming how much you can't breathe in there.
He's managing.
I did open my eyes.
Yeah,
and it was a mistake.
It certainly cleans out the sinuses, though. There's no doubt about that.
It's the future of e-cigs.
Dave, that's pink, mate.
It's not, it's fuchsia.
Okay. All right, if you say so. Pink.
Fuchsia.
Pink.
Fuchsia.
Pink.
Pink.
It definitely looks pink.
Fuchsia.
Well, here I am at Vape Fest 2012, again at the Moat House. Scott, what are you doing in Ireland?
Well, visiting. It's a beautiful country. Twofold. One, to come to Vape Fest Ireland. The other thing is we're on my honeymoon.
So I know we've got lots of viewers in Ireland. He's new Mark on the ukvapors.org forum, so you could PM him if you wanted to help. And I'm sure he won't turn you away.
I did get great help Joe, from the lads on the Irish forum boards.
Yes, okay.
And Jaded and Wayne in the UK, organised the UK Vape Fest, were absolutely great. We Jaded done some graphics.
He's good like that, isn't he?
And Wayne gave me the UK drum thing for the raffle. So
fantastic.
They were great help, you know. So
that's good to
it's
know.
appreciated anyway from everyone, all the support.
Well, on behalf of
even yourselves, like.
Right, well, we're nearing the end of tonight's show, and if you are still watching this, thanks for sticking with it so far. Before we wrap things up, though, I want to do a quick plug for our new show, which is starting within the next few weeks, certainly during October. It's called Vapor Scene. You've seen a trailer for it once already tonight, and it will be presented by Mark Green. We're running a little competition, weekly competition, so I'm pretty pleased to announce that in conjunction with Flavour Art UK, the feature Show Us Yours, where we're going to ask you to send in pictures of your vaping gear, preferably with you using your gear while you're out and about or in unusual locations. We're going to pick the best one each week. And there'll be a bottle of juice of the winner's flavour and choice from Flavour Art UK. So that makes it worth entering, doesn't it? So if you want to take part in this, it'll be an ongoing event. There's no great rush. You can enter as many times as you like. You need to send us your photographs to Vapor Scene. Do this the right way. Vapor Scene at vaportrails.tv. And each week that we run this feature, we'll pick a winner, and you can win yourself a 30ml bottle of juice from Flavour Art UK of your flavour and strength choice. That's not bad, is it? As you can see, I'm struggling a little bit here. I'll do my best to be better for next week, and I look forward to seeing you all again then. Until then, thanks for watching. Good night.